Hello and what's up, GSC Pokemon Challenges fam? How you guys doing? It's Teo, we're back. Hoothoot, you know what this is. Last time we beat the entire game with a single Spearow, and Spearow in Pokemon Crystal was terrible. Level 92 to beat the champion, and even then I don't think it was consistent. But hey, we did get through, but now it's Hoothoot's turn. Hoothoot has the exact same base stat total, ranked one spot below our Spearow just because of the way that my ranking system handles ties. When we look at base stats, it's kind of arbitrary. They're effectively the same, but they have a lot of differences. The same base stats are spread out in a very different way between these two Pokemon, with Hoothoot having only 30 base attack and 36 special attack. So unlike Spearow that had a really high attack stat, allowing it to do reasonable damage in a lot of fights, this one doesn't have any of that. This one is going to be absolutely terrible when it comes to dealing damage to our opponents. So on the basis of that, you would already think this Pokemon's going to be much worse. I mean, it has better HP, better special defense, but that's really it. But there is one reason for hope. This Pokemon is going to learn Hypnosis. Hypnosis allows us to put opponents to sleep, and once they're asleep, we could theoretically knock them out. We also have access to a little bit more coverage in the fact that we get Dream Eater here, and that together with the fact that we should be able to get some normal type moves like Return, we should definitely be able to get the Mud Slap so that we can deal with some steel types and electric types later on. I don't know, guys, it might just work, but we're gonna have to find out. We're aiming to beat the game at a lower level than Spearow. Let's see if we can manage it. So first things first, it's time to start a new game. As usual with these runs, we're running on 0 DVs. This is the worst possible Hoothoot. The worst possible Hoothoot. And oh, they showed us a Nidoqueen. But I always talk about this. Why do we run the worst possible Hoothoot? It's because we want to know, what is the actual floor of this Pokemon? Like, in the worst case scenario, could you beat the game? Would it just be completely terrible to do so? That's what we're going to find out here. So first things first, we're going to run over to Professor Elm's lab. He's going to be like, oh my god, I have amazing news for you, sir. Today, you have won the amazing, the wonderful, the completely unbeatable Hoothoot. For once, he's giving us a Pokemon that kind of makes sense. A hoot, guys. What a hoot. So here we go. We're just going to run right on out of this lab here. Nobody wants to be stuck in this lab any longer. No, let's just run right on out, and we're gonna start the game naturally. Normally, it's nothing special here, guys. So after a couple minutes of mind-numbing dialogue, let's try to actually beat an opponent. Let's fight rival number 1. So Hoothoot is going to come out here, of course, knowing only Tackle and Growl. I think we need to Growl, especially when we took a Leer. We want to avoid as much damage as possible. Granted, it just critical hits us immediately. Oh, it double crits. Oh, it triple crits. Are you kidding me? Oh, the game is just like, your Hoothoot does not deserve to win this fight. Oh god. So we're gonna have to try this one again. It's kind of funny, you know, how little you can do when your opponent just critical hits you 3 times in a row. So now that we've actually set up the growls properly, we get a tackle miss and another critical hit. So it's pretty clear that Pokemon Crystal does not want to lose to a Hoothoot. Now we are in a speed tie here, so in theory, if we don't miss a bunch of tackles, we should be able to maybe get through this one. And yes, we finally win, but we had only 1 HP remaining after using the berry. Terrible, terrible. That 30 base attack is just trash. Now this is another one where we're going to avoid optional battles and TMs as much as we can, but with a Pokemon this week, it's almost certain that we have to take some optional battles and learn some TMs. That's just basically how it goes. So here we're going to fight the required youngster Mikey fight. For now, we're going to skip youngster Joey as we learn Foresight, and we're just hoping that we have the foresight to land the tackles as he's tail whipping us. No! We lost to youngster Mikey. We might actually need berries for like all of these fights in the early game, or we might have to use Growl, I'm not sure. So this Pidgey is a 3-hit KO, and now when we get to this Rattata, I think we should Growl at it once, let it tail whip us. Like, yeah, if you want to tail whip like crazy, that's kind of cool. We're kind of here for that, but we survive with only 2 HP. Oh my gosh, this Pokemon is just so weak. it has no defense on top of the fact that it has no attack. At least Spearow could deal damage, even though it took a lot of damage back, but man oh man. So it's just for that reason that we almost certainly have to take optional battles here. Of course, the last time we ran up in here on minimum battles as part of our minimum battles series and fought this Spearow, where we were like, okay, let's growl at it, and we use a berry here, and look at that. It's still doing 8 damage per hit to us, and that is clearly like a 6-hit KO, something like that. So we're just going to take a reset there, and let's run instead into the Sprout Tower. Now we have a big advantage here because of the fact that we are a flying type. Of course, that means that we shouldn't take very much damage from these Vine Whips. We also have better special defense than we have defense, so we kind of like this situation. So here we're just going to take this opportunity to just, you know, beat up on some cute little flowers here. The little tulips have no chance against us, and I think we're going to make easy work of this section. So here we're even going to fight Edmund, you know, the legendary like grown-up version of Ed, Edd and Eddy, run out of here once just to heal up and get more PP. And here for the first time we're about to take on ourselves. Our level 10 Hoothoot is up against a level 7 Hoothoot, but we're on lower HP. He uses the foresight to know what we're doing, but it was too late. We got him. And after watching our rival, Pecker, fight against this Sage, we're going to let him escape and take him on ourselves. The Sage will not stand against the power of Hoothoot. So first attempt here at the legendary Sage Lee, we are simply going to come in and spam tackle the entire way. I don't think there's any other strategy here, and the 2 Bellsprouts are incredibly easy, but he also has a level 10 Hoothoot, and this Hoothoot is kind of a beast. He's kind of destroying us. No, defeat his Hoothoot. Our Hoothoot lost to the Hoothoot on Hoothoot violence. So in round 2 against Sage Lee, I think the strategy comes down to we needed to growl at his Hoothoot. So apparently growl is kind of important. So here we're just gonna spam a growl here. Keep in mind that he has better DVs than we have, and with a few growls he should be doing a lot less damage without a critical hit, and now we should be able to hopefully just slowly whittle him down, especially because it seems like he basically just attacks here. Now we do get through that one and we level up and learn Peck just in time for the final Bellsprout, which turns out to be a 2-hit KO. So there we go. With 2 HP remaining, we just barely beat Sage Lee, but we can count it as a victory. And now that Hoothoot has completely destroyed the Sprout Tower, it's gotten to level 11, and now we can go back in here and try Falkner's gym again. We now out-leveled the Spearow, but the question is, will our rival be able to just completely destroy us? I'm gonna go for the growl first still. I still think we need to lower its damage output, and then I think we can start returning Peck on it, and it's still faster than us, so we lose that fight right there. But I think we simply needed a berry. So now with the berry on, we're simply going to run up here and try him again, where we can go for more growls. And then we can start pecking or tackling, but I think peck is better because it is 100% accurate. So we're gonna go for the peck here just to avoid any random misses. And there we go. We easily get through that fight now, but we should definitely run out, heal up, and prepare for the next one. We can just see that our defense is a little bit too weak to be able to get through these Pokemon without any concerns. We might even have to go to the Ruins of Alph to get another berry here. Now, fortunately, Rod was no challenge as usual, so it's time to get into the Falkner fight. So let's just see here. We've made it to level 12 with Hoothoot, 37 HP coming in. Our moveset is currently Tackle, Growl, Foresight, and Peck, and we have 13 attack, 13 defense, 14 special attack, 19 special defense, and 17 speed. Let's find out if this is gonna be enough. So first attempt here against Falkner, I'm just gonna peck on his Pidgey, which I think is gonna be fine, but it turns out to be a 4-hit KO here. Out comes Pidgeotto. Let's just see the range. It did 9 damage to us with Gust. There's no way we get through that without the berries, so we're just gonna have to go take care of this. So after we break into the Ruins of Alph, we can start grabbing some items, and these should all be basically okay. We're not really gonna try to use the powders since they're gonna lower our friendship with our Pokemon, but it would be very interesting to do a frustration run where we have to use the powders in order to keep our hatred from our Pokemon high enough. Tell me what you guys think of that. I think it would be incredibly interesting. But now with the berry on, let's just try this fight again and see if there's any possible way of getting through at our current level. So now with the berry on, let's make sure that we put Peck in the top slot here. And with the higher output of Peck, we should just knock that one out. But now the question is Pidgeotto. I think we need to go for a Growl here at least, just trying to survive a few more hits. Now it's doing 6 damage per hit to us, so we're looking like we still need about 6 hits to knock it out. So we're probably not going to get through at this level, honestly. So here, let's try giving a Growl to the Pidgey first, just to see if getting it to do a little less damage helps. We got a critical hit there too. That was very nice. But now we should definitely start growling at this Pidgeotto. I'm going to give it a couple growls. We got a critical hit from Pidgeotto though. That was terrible. After such a good setup, we just simply could not get the luck to get through Pidgeotto there. Let's try this again though, because that was kind of unlucky getting that crit there when we had so much HP. Let's just try again with the growl on Pidgey first, and it crits us immediately. It's just like, I'm not taking this nonsense from you. No way, no way. Like, it really does feel like the entire game is intent on destroying this Pokemon. The game is basically telling us there is no way that I'm going to allow you to beat me with a Hoothoot. I think we just need to backtrack and fight some more battles. I think we have to level up more. The good news is this gives us a chance to back up and catch a Sentret, because I forgot to catch one. Now, whenever we do randomly grind here, we're basically going to grind based on damage rounding threshold. So we're trying to get to level 13 right here. At level 13, our damage output is going to go up just a little bit more than it normally would. And it just has to do with the way that the game rounds fractions. So whenever there's like a fractional damage value in the calculation, it's just going to kind of give us just a little boost there. Now, what we can do, of course, is try to catch this Pidgey to be one of our HM Pokemon. Very nice. And let's also find a Sentret. Oh, not Hoppip. Come on, nobody needs Hoppip. Garbage, garbage, I say. And here we have to deal with the Sentret that refuses to be caught. Come on, Sentret. No! Sentret, stay in the ball. Look at this Sentret. He's just not taking our nonsense. There, we finally got him, but I think we were out of Pokeballs. So here, even with every single trainer defeated, we did not reach level 13. So we're still at the same level as we were before. The only question is, will we level up before Pidgeotto? I'm not sure that we will, but I'm gonna simply try this one more time just to see. And we do not level up before Pidgeotto. So no matter what, without fighting wild Pokemon, we are simply going to be stuck at level 12 here. And so it's just a question of whether or not we can win this fight with some sort of incredible luck. Now, we should keep in mind that this Pidgey can technically miss us 5% of the time, and if we can just happen to get a miss, that may be all that we actually need to get through this. We can also say that getting exactly 2 growls on the Pidgeotto gets it down to doing 5 damage per hit. So here we've gotten probably the best range that we've gotten in this fight so far, but it simply does not look like we're going to be able to get through with that level of luck. We're probably going to need multiple critical hits here in order to get through this fight. But here with 3 growls set up, it's down to doing only 3 damage per hit to us. And now I think if we got a critical hit on this one, we could get it down. So we basically have to get a 3-hit KO range on the Pidgey. And then once we get that, we should just be able to use the growls there. We finally get a tackle miss from Pidgey here. That was very nice. And a 3-hit KO range. So this is by far and away the best HP we've had here. And now we're going to set up 3 growls on this one as we heal up to 25 HP there. And now let's just see if we can get the range here. It's doing 3 damage per hit. Please don't crit me. And we might just barely be able to get through this one now. There we go. Hoothoot has defeated Falkner. Was it pretty? No, that was terrible. But we did manage to get through, and we level up to level 13. So very nice. We can now move on in the run. Now it is worth noting that when I added egg moves to this Pokemon, which included some super strong moves like Wing Attack and Sky Attack right here, plus Supersonic to allow it to confuse opponents, it was a much stronger Pokemon. It was actually able to beat Falkner and his entire gym on minimum battles. It wasn't perfectly consistent, but the fact that we could use some confusion strats did make it at least manageable within a reasonable number of attempts. That being said, that entire strategy broke down in the next section, because just before we got access to the move that we really wanted to get in Hypnosis, we failed to beat Rival 2. So we're going to be up against the same Croconaut team here. I don't think we have very good chances going forward. Now, one other thing that's worth noting is that when I do the minimum battle series, I actually use a lot of shortcuts. I pre-program things into GameHook, for example, so that I don't have to come and pick up this Swift TM. But when I'm doing the full game solo run, we're just going to play the game basically as it is, with the only change being that we're on 0 DVs and that we don't have wild Pokemon. So we're going to come and tell Kurt all about how we got beat up by Falkner. He's going to run out of here. He's going to be like, yeah, I'm going to help you. I'm going to save you. But he falls down in the well. We have to go in like he's little Timmy. Yes, Lassie. Yes, come save little Timmy. So we're going to try to beat all of these rockets. Let's see if they're consistent or not. So we're just missing the range to get 2 hit KOs on these Rattatas here, and that is a pretty big problem. We don't have any more berries because we're not going to wait a full day here. This is a solo challenge, so once we've used the berries, they're just gone. So we're struggling pretty hard here, so I think the best strategy is to actually add the Swift TM. Swift is significantly stronger than both of our moves. It's a 60 base power normal type move that never misses, and this could make all the difference. So here, using Swift instead of Growl, we just get a pure 2-hit KO here. So now these Rattatas really aren't a problem to get through, but that's still pretty sad that we had to add our first TM just to be able to beat a rocket with 2 Rattatas. So we're gonna buy a whole bunch of potions here to avoid trips back to the Pokemon Center, because otherwise I think we're gonna just end up sitting here forever. Let's hopefully not have to do that in this run. Now, fortunately, with Swift on the set, we have no issues with any of the rest of these rockets up to this point. So now it's just time to take on demoted James, or Proton as he likes to go by because he doesn't want anybody to know, who's formerly one of the 2 members of Team Rocket. The problem here is we can see immediately that we're taking massive amounts of damage. We need Smog misses because he's doing like 9 damage per hit, but fortunately we are just going to be able to get through that one. So we'll take a very nice free heal from our friend Kurt as we run now into Bugsy's gym. I'm not sure how we are going to do in this gym, but I'm hoping that we'll be able to just completely wreck these bugs. So we're going to start by fighting the required trainers, and we're only going to add the extra trainers on if we really need them. But I do think this is a spot where we save before Bugsy, and if we have trouble with rival number 2, we'll simply reset here, fight the rest of these trainers, and then go back and fight the rival again. But first things first, let's just check how we do against Bugsy here. And just to check the tail of the tape as we come in, we're now level 15 with 44 HP. We have Peck, Growl, Foresight, and Swift on the moveset. 15 attack, 15 defense, 17 special attack, 23 special defense, and 21 speed. We'll find out if this is enough or not as we get into the Bugsy fight. So here against the Metapod, it looks to be a 3-hit KO with Peck, which is kind of bad. Out comes this Scyther, and its Fury Cutter is building up faster than we can do damage with Peck, so I think we just didn't really have a chance there. Let's heal up once and just see if we can get through on the second attempt here. This second attempt, he actually sends Kakuna out second, and we knock it out in 2 hits, and we get to level up now, so we get to learn the legendary Hypnosis. I'm going to learn Hypnosis over Foresight. I don't really think we need Foresight in this run, so instead, let's just go for Hypnosis on this Scyther, and now with it asleep, we can sit here and just peck it repeatedly. It goes for Fury Cutter there, but it knocks us out with the Quick Attack. So we really want him to use the Kakuna second, if at all possible, so that we get the level up right there. So here we managed to put the Scyther to sleep finally, and now Peck looks to be a 4-hitter. He stays asleep, and we finally win. After 10 attempts at Bugsy, we finally managed to beat him. And now with that fight out of the way, I think we have to go and try to take on our rival. It's one of these things where I'm going to try to avoid extra optional battles as much as I can when I have a clear path to victory. There it was clearly just about getting the Hypnosis and getting the Hypnosis luck. But let's see if we can beat the rival or not here. So the rival leads off with Ghastly, of course. We're going to try to put it to sleep. And now we're just going to peck it. It looks to be a 3-hit KO here. Fortunately, he can't actually damage us with that Pokemon. Next comes the Zubat, which does confuse us. And it bites us. Oh, and the flinches are terrible. Oh, look at the flinches. Oh, he flinched us 4 turns in a row. And then we just die. We get through the Ghastly 100% of the time. We just get wrecked by that Zubat. So the strategy, I think, has to be to put this Ghastly to sleep. It's just going to use Spite after we are put to sleep by it. So we really want to keep our PP and Peck if at all possible. So now we have a speed tie here. So we managed to put Zubat to sleep. We're going to go for Swift here since it should do more damage. And there we get the 3-hit KO. Out comes Croconaw now. And we need to put this Pokemon to sleep very badly. And now we're going to start growling at it in order to reduce its attack power. And now let's see, Swift looks like maybe a 6-hit KO here. And it's been asleep so long that I think it's guaranteed to wake up, so we needed to put it back to sleep and we missed. So the only strategy that I can think of here that will get us through without extra level grinding is to learn Mud Slap here. Of course, we can learn Mud Slap over Growl, and the entire idea of this move is to be able to lower the accuracy of the Croconaw while it's asleep. So this time we've got good health as we get Croconaw to sleep again, and we just need it to not hit us. Please, don't hit me. There we go. We get it back to sleep as we're going to continue to set up the accuracy drops. And now with a full -6 in accuracy and with Croconaw's sleep, we're just trying to get enough Swifts to hit to knock this one out. One more hit, and there we go. It only took 11 resets on this rival in order to beat him, but sleep strats did ultimately prevail. And now with Cut in the bag, we'll simply teach it to our Sentret and make our way up north on the way to Goldenrod. So now that we've made it to Goldenrod, it's time to just handle a little bit of business. Let's see if we can finally get access to the return TM, because that will help a lot. We can also get some extra items, for example, the Quick Claw as we go north. So here this girl's gonna tell us about a wiggly stick, but we're gonna just say, okay, cool, nice story. But now we have to run back to Goldenrod and complete the Whitney battle. And this one could be pretty tough for a flying Pokemon like Hoothoot. Now, one more thing that we can do before we go into the gym, of course, is we can come to the underground where there are 2 trainers to fight. We've got Donald right here, who is just going to send out his Slowpokes because he's kind of a slow boy. Unfortunately, at this level, Swift is doing more than enough damage that we're basically able to get through these Pokemon pretty easily. And here we can fight our first Super Nerd, where we can simply use the Mud Slap that we've picked up earlier in order to have a pretty easy time against Teru's Pokemon. And here I'm just gonna give a haircut because I can. Let's just see what it does. Oh, it's all done. He looks a little happier. Good job. So if I ever do that frustration run, this lady right here is gonna be super important to buy the herbal medicine so that our Pokemon hate us. Like this old woman, she's all about making your Pokemon hate you. But now that we've made it through all of that, it's time to get into Whitney's gym, where we have to start with this Snubble trainer. Let's see if this goes well. First things first, I think we're going to try to hypnosis this Pokemon. It uses Scary Face and lowers our speed, but now we've put it to sleep, and Swift, at least with that critical hit, did really good damage. So this looks to be a 6-hit KO. And with that trainer out of the way, it's now just time to get on to Whitney. Let's see if we can beat her at our current level. So Whitney attempt number 1, we just put the Clefairy to sleep on turn 1, which is very nice. And now we can simply spam Swift. We want to keep this one asleep. Fortunately, we are faster than Clefairy, and it's a 4-hit KO. Now Miltank comes out though, and Miltank is fast, and it simply stomps us from full health. But there, we're just doing basically no damage. So Miltank knocks us out, and I don't think there's a good way to get through this, so I'm simply going to back up and fight some more trainers. So now back to Whitney at level 20. Let's see if we can manage to beat her now. One thing that we can say now is that the first rollout does less than half damage to us. I think we should give a Quick Claw to our Pokemon just to give a chance that maybe we outspeed and get to put that Miltank to sleep first. first. Here the Quick Claw does activate, allowing us to put this Miltank to sleep turn 1, and now we can go into our accuracy strats once again. Here we're actually getting some pretty incredible Quick Claw luck, and in spite of the fact that I don't have any Swifts left, we are dealing decent damage to this Pokemon, so we might just have a chance here. Here it uses Milk Drink, of course, to recover HP, which is the other trolly thing about this Miltank. So we do need to time it out as best as we can and try to keep it asleep if possible. And here it misses the stomp, so at level 20, we actually do manage to beat Whitney with Hoothoot. But fortunately, with that section done, we can now get the Squirt Bottle, and there we go. It's time to simply go up and take care of that Sudowoodo. And so as usual, we're simply going to skip past Sudowoodo. He's not actually required to battle, of course. And since this is minimal battles, we're going to just avoid that fight. So after running past one last trainer, we've made it to Ecruteak City, where we can heal up and let's take on some Kimono girls. Now, I'm not sure how we actually match up here, so let's go from the easiest first, I suppose, and hopefully just make our way through without too much trouble. We're mostly scared of that final one that's going to have the Jolteon, since it's going to do the most damage. So now it's finally time to take on the Jolteon Kimono girl. Let's just see if we can get through this. Thundershock is slightly less than half to us, and now we can go into the Mud Slaps just to lower its accuracy a little bit in case it wakes up. And now I think we just go into Swift and hope to knock this one out. It misses the Thundershock, and there we go. Mickey had no chance. So let's just slap this Surf TM on our Sentret that seems to learn basically everything. And now we can go ahead and make our way to Rival 3. This one could be tough though. If we can't beat Rival 3, we're going to have to go take some optional battles. So against Rival 3, I think the biggest issue is that we have to find a way to get through this Haunter. Now, no matter what we do, he's just going to be faster than us, so it's probably not worth doing anything other than just attacking it. But I don't think we can get through this fight with Curse on. So we're kind of hoping that the Quick Claw will activate and let us put this Pokemon to sleep turn 1. So here we do get it to sleep, so as long as we can keep it asleep long enough to actually be able to deal some damage here. It goes Spite this time, very nice. So any run where we don't get Curse, I feel pretty darn good. Now we're gonna Mud Slap on his Magnemite. Thundershock will do decent damage, but if we can just get the misses, we may be able to get through that one. Very nice. Out comes the Zubat next. We'll simply put it to sleep and start using Swift on it in order to knock it out as quick as possible. And finally, we've got to deal with the Croconaw. It's another Pokemon that is going to be in a speed tie with us now, but fortunately we can put it to sleep here. We're going to go for a similar strategy to Rival 2, where we're going to Mud Slap it a bunch of times, just hoping to get the misses. We'll put it back to sleep again, just to guarantee that we can get all the accuracy drops on it. And now we're just hoping that we're able to deal enough damage to knock this one out. Fortunately, Swift will always hit, and we do manage to knock him out on that attempt. So Pecker has no chance as long as we manage to not get the Curse. That's probably going to be the case on Morty as well, so we're just going to have to hope for some luck in this next section. So the big thing that we're finding so far is that when you have a sleep move, especially with the Quick Claw, you can reset for luck on a lot of these fights, but they're not super consistent, so it's kind of up to you. Do you prefer to beat the game at a lower level, or do you prefer to be more consistent? For me personally, I'd rather get the lower level finish, but that's just a matter of personal preference. So now that we've made it to Morty, let's save the game and see if we can find a way through this fight. So first up is the Ghastly, which is already faster than us. So the only way that we're going to get this one without getting a Curse is if we manage to get the Quick Claw to activate. So here, after a bunch of attempts, I've just not been able to find a situation where we could actually get the Quick Claw to activate and put that first Ghastly to sleep. So I'm just going to start taking some optional battles. But of course, before we go too crazy on them, we should come down here and fight the required trainers. Of course, we can come fight this Pokefan who has his Pikachu, and Pikachu has no answer for Swift, so easy win right there. And we can also go into the Lighthouse, where we can take on a couple of required trainers as we go up to Jasmine. And first up, of course, is our evolved form Noctowl standing in front of us here inside of the lighthouse, but 3 Swifts is enough to knock it down. So here, as we just talked to Jasmine, she's going to tell us all about what she needs, and we're simply going to say, okay, cool, come grab the rare candy, let's get on out of here. We're going to have to deal with her dealer later though, because we still have to find a way to get through that last fight. So the next damage rounding threshold is at level 28, so we have to fight just a few more trainers in order to get there. And at level 28, we get to learn Takedown, which is technically a stronger move than Swift. I'm going to learn it for now just since it is a level up move. I'm not sure if we're ever going to really want to use it though. Obviously in the Morty fight, it has no effect since we forgot Foresight much earlier in the run. But back here to Morty at level 28, let's see if we can get this one to go now. So this time we do manage to outspeed the first Ghastly. We put it to sleep and now we should just be able to peck it down in 3 hits. Out next comes Haunter, which is still faster than us, but we managed to put it to sleep as it missed its hypnosis. And now this one looks like a 4-hit KO. It does get us to sleep there, which is pretty terrible. And we're hoping that we can just manage to get through this one, hopefully without a curse. So there we go. We do knock that one out. Out comes Gengar now. Gengar is of course going to try to put us to sleep here, but now let's just use some mud slaps on this one. We're just trying to prevent it from being able to land a hypnosis and then a Dream Eater on us. It still lands hypnosis though, so we're really hoping that Dream Eater continues to miss. It does, fortunately, and now we're just gonna peck this one down. And there we go. We've made it to the final Haunter, so let's go ahead and give it a hypnosis here. It doesn't know any damage dealing moves that can affect a Hoothoot, so as long as he doesn't do anything ridiculous, there we go. We beat Morty on level 29. And of course, with Morty down, we can now progress in the game. And I think it's time to make our way down, maybe to see good old Chucky boy. Maybe we can just beat him and make progress that way. So we've apparently taken so much time that it's now nighttime in this run. Oh, this is terrible, but we've made it to the island. We're gonna get Aw Shucks right here because we want this Pokemon to use Strength. It also turns out that Shuckle is a little bit of a flasher, so we're just gonna let it do its job here. He's gonna flash people and he's gonna say Aw Shucks. But now with the secret potion in tow, we're simply going to come here into the gym. Let's see if Hoothoot can beat up these fighting types. Now we are slower here, and Jump Kick did massive damage. That being said, it's possible that we could get a miss from something, and that's basically what we're going to need here, or the Quick Claw to activate could also be the way to go. And if anything, I think we need the Quick Claw to activate here on Hitmonlee, since it's the one that's going to do massive damage with its Jump Kick. So this time we do get the Quick Claw, and with that, I think we can go into our pecks as long as we don't get a hit. There we go. So we get through on full health from that one. We can move on to the second trainer here who has the Hitmonchan, and Comet Punch isn't going to do nearly as much damage as that Jump Kick was doing, but there we simply could not land a single Hypnosis. That being said, it might have been a similar range to Hitmonlee, in which case we could have just 3-shot there if we hadn't even worried about trying to go for Hypnosis. We also do have to keep in mind that the Quick Claw could just activate on the first turn against Hitmonchan and enable us to win that way. So here we get the Quick Claw on Hitmonchan, and yet again it does look like it might be a 3 or a 4 hit range here. Fortunately, it stays asleep, so we finally get through the first 2 trainers. So with that, we can progress in the gym and hopefully we can just find a way through the rest of these. Unfortunately, we do manage to get through the rest of the trainers without too much difficulty here, so we should just be right on to Chuck. And once we can beat him, we can get access to Fly, which will be a massive upgrade for us. So as we head into Chuck at 1 hour and 42 minutes, let's see if we can do it with Hoothoot. So Chuck attempt number 1, we're gonna put his first Primeape to sleep, and this one looks like it might be a 3 or 4 hit KO range here. We do get the 3-hitter. Now onto the Poliwrath. We're going to try to put this one to sleep, but a single dynamic punch one-shots us. This is the issue with having no defense, but I think if we just get the miss or the Quick Claw, we'll get through this one just fine. So this time we do get Poliwrath to sleep, so let's see what kind of damage we're doing. He does have a full heal. That is a problem. The full heal might just be our undoing here. So it just doesn't seem like this fight is going very well. So instead of sitting here and just grinding forever, what I'm gonna do is actually go do the rocket hideout, because basically if we can just beat up on a bunch of rockets and gain some easy levels, we should be able to make progress without so much luck involved. And this is just worth noting that as we progress in this challenge, I'm definitely going to be taking advantage of the fact that I can simply come over here and do the rocket storyline to get a bunch of extra levels pretty easily in this section of the game. And this is one of those points where when I get to this point in the minimum battles challenge that we're doing on the channel, I'm definitely going to take advantage of the fact that I can simply come here and fight a bunch of rocket grunts in order to get a ton of extra levels once I finally get through Morty. I'm planning to route every single Pokemon so that it goes first through this section before we try to take on any of the next gym leaders. So here against the red Gyarados, we're simply going to reset in order to be able to catch this one, because we need this Pokemon for later on as one of our HM users. And just like that, we can come talk to Lancey Boy, and he's going to tell us all about his daring adventure to go take on Team Rocket. And we're going to say, oh, cool story, bro. But we know we're the ones who are actually going to be doing all of the work over there. This guy, he's just kind of along for the ride. So here, fortunately, none of these rockets are going to be particularly hard, especially because Takedown does a lot of damage, and we've got a lot of super potions in the bag, so we don't even need to really worry about the fact that we're taking the recoil damage. So now we've made it to the executive, and I think we can get through this fight pretty reasonably. Takedown for the Zubat is a one-hit KO. Out comes the Raticate. This one's Hyper Fang is doing a lot of damage, so I think we have to put it to sleep and then just hope to whittle it down before it wakes up. So this one actually could turn out to be a tough fight, but this time we do get the Quick Claw to activate, and now it looks like 2 takedowns will knock that one out. Finally, out comes the Coughing, which if we can just put it to sleep, but we miss. But on the next attempt, we get back to the Coughing. This time it is asleep, and we can simply spam any of our moves, I think, and do decent enough damage, but Takedown's probably the best play, and there we go. We get through just like that. So it's taken nearly 2 hours to get to this point. We've already reset 135 times, but we haven't taken nearly as many optional battles as we did with Spearow. There's obviously give and take to that, of course. You're going to be at a lower level, which means fights are less consistent, but on the other hand, the fact that we've gotten this far without having to take the optional battles is kind of cool to see. So now we can take on the final female executive here before we get through this section, where I think the strategy is that we want to put this Arbok to sleep if at all possible. We're still wrapped, unfortunately, but now Takedown should be the play in order to just slowly knock this one out. Now moving on to the Murkrow, we're simply going to try to put this one to sleep as well, but we get pecked down. So it's just pretty clear that even at this level, we're just not particularly consistent against these rockets. They do a lot of damage to us, and we are taking multiple resets just to get through the executives. Now, it's not to say that these fights aren't winnable, they certainly are, but it's just a matter of how much should we reset just because something is possible versus trying to get through as quickly as possible. So I'm just going to take this opportunity to fight some more rockets in here, since there are other trainers that we haven't fought yet, and they should give us some extra experience. So we still need to gain a couple levels to get to the next damage rounding threshold, even though we beat all of the rocket grunts in there. So I'm going to go up near the Lake of Rage and fight some of those trainers as well. And here at level 35, I've actually decided to replace Peck with Confusion. I think the fact that we have a same type move in Takedown, and that most of the Pokemon that would resist Takedown are also resisted by Peck anyway, we're probably better off just keeping Takedown on the moveset and trying to get rid of our flying move for now. We can always learn Fly later if we want it, and it at least gives us another move that we can try out in some of these fights. So here we can simply put Arbok to sleep and use Confusion on it now instead of going for like Mud Slaps or Takedown, and that knocks it out pretty easily. Now we can go for the Takedown here on Murkrow, where it is a 2-hit KO. Let's try this again. So now we are able to beat that Rocket Executive finally with enough resets. It's still pretty terrible. So now we just have to take care of the electrodes and we can move on. So now's the part of the run where we simply chuck balls at balls and hope that we manage to catch something. And just like that, we've taken care of this whole section. It's time to get back to Chucky Boy and see if we can finally beat him. So back against Chuck, let's just see if this will actually work this time. Where the strategy is pretty simple. We're going to try to put this Pokemon to sleep. We're still slower than Primate, but we take less than 50% damage from its Karate Chop. And now Confusion should in fact allow us to even confuse this Pokemon just in case it does wake up. Now onto the Poliwrath. We're hoping that it will simply miss, but we are faster at this point, so we put it to sleep and he can full heal here. That's perfectly fine. We're just going to put him back to sleep. I'm not sure how many full heals he has, but now that he's staying asleep from the looks of things, we can simply spam Confusion until we manage to knock it out. It hits itself in Confusion, and just like that, we have beaten Chuck. So it took 2 hours and 16 minutes to do it, but we are through that gym. Now we can make our way back to Olivine, where we can deliver a special package to our good friend, and it's just time to see if we can progress. So for now, I'm going to avoid learning Fly on my Hoothoot, just because I'm not sure if I want it at this point. Instead, we'll teach Pidgey to fly and simply let it handle the main fly duties. So here, now that we deliver to Jasmine, she's just going to go ahead and make her way out of here, and we're also going to try to get out of here as quick as we possibly can. We don't want to fight any of these guys. We want to go straight to Jasmine and try to beat her. Keep in mind, the next two gyms, they both have type advantages against us. We have to deal with either a steel type here, or we're going to have to deal with the fact that we're going to have ice type moves against us when we come up against Price. So I'm going to try Jasmine one time just to see what it looks like. Maybe sleep is enough here. So here against Jasmine, attempt number 1, we put the first Magnemite to sleep and we can simply Mud Slap here. It looks to be a 3-hit KO with this move. And of course, if it wakes up and Thunderbolts us, we're just going to get wrecked. So this does seem to be all about landing the first Hypnosis though. It is worth noting, however, that this is where we hit a massive wall with Spearow. We took a ridiculous amount of time to get through this fight, and we had to basically go back and fight every available trainer in order to even stand a chance of getting through it. Here on the other hand, we have made it now at level 37 to the Steelix, and once again we are faster, so as long as we can keep it asleep and maybe get some good accuracy luck here, we could theoretically eventually get through this. So here Steelix missed its first Iron Tail, and we're just hoping to get its accuracy down here, and then we're gonna kind of just try to cheese our way through this one. So we can keep it asleep, and we can go for something like Confusion, not really so much for damage as much as to get the opponent to be confused. Now none of our moves are gonna do a lot of damage here, but that should theoretically be fine as long as we can manage the hits. So there she uses her Hyper Potion as we put Steelix back to sleep and confuse it, and if we can just get it to maybe hit itself in Confusion, we might have had a very small chance to get through that one. That being said, it's pretty clear that we're not getting through this one with any reasonable amount of luck, so we may as well at least go try Price. So we'll start by trying Price without any optional battles in his gym. Let's see if we can win. So of course our first strategy here is to just simply put this Seal to sleep and then just start trying to take it down. Out comes the Dugong next. We put it to sleep in spite of our speed drop here. And I guess we can even go for a move like Confusion just to try to deal some damage, maybe get it to hit itself in Confusion just like that. But Aurora Beam is doing pretty serious damage here. So in the second attempt, we do manage to put this Dugong to sleep, and we don't have any speed drops on this one. So here, hopefully we can simply just continue to outspeed and deal good damage. We put it back to sleep, and now we're just hoping to deal as much damage as we possibly can before it wakes up, but it knocks us out. So it's at least not looking super consistent here, so we should probably just fight some more trainers. I do think this is also a perfect time to learn the Return TM. It's going to be stronger at its strongest than Takedown, and it doesn't have recoil. This is also a pretty good time to go ahead and get access to the Soft Sand, which could also help us get a better range on Jasmine. So just like that, we do have access now to Soft Sand. I'm going to simply put that on my my Pokemon instead, since we weren't really ever having to deal with the fact that we were slower here anyway, and maybe this could make a difference. So here, let's save the game, now at level 38, and try Jasmine again. So it looks like the Magnemites are still a 3-hit KO at this level, even with the soft sand, but at very least we can simply use 2 Mud Slaps on each of these Magnemites and then just use a weak move like Confusion to knock them out. Here we get a Screech from the Steelix, which is kind of bad, but we still have 6 Mud Slaps here, so we can go even harder on the accuracy strats before we have to change into something else. However, with a Screech followed by an Iron Tail, we are guaranteed to be one-shot there. It does appear, however, that at this level, she's going for a lot more Supersonics and Thunder Waves against us, so we might actually have an even bigger advantage against these Magnemites. So now back to Steelix, we just need to actually get it to sleep, but it instead gets a critical hit and one-shots us. So while we can get through the 2 Magnemites without too much difficulty now, it's still pretty clear that Jasmine just isn't going to work. And after just taking the chance to level up a little bit more in here, we're up to level 39 as we come into the prize fight. Here he does finally miss the Blizzard, and there we can knock him out. So we do beat Price at level 40. It was definitely not consistent by any means there, but hey, we'll take the victory as we get through. And now it's time to just go back to Jasmine because she's the only one that we can fight at this point, unless we're gonna go take even more optional battles. So I just don't see any way we get through this without a bunch of extra level grinding. So let's just go get to it and see what level we get to when we finally get through a bunch of these trainers. Fortunately, at this point, Return is strong enough that we basically just one-shot everything. So we can just try to get the luck here in order to use this move to just get a ton of levels, basically. So it's really just a matter of holding down auto A on Return at this point. Now the real problem in this game is that the level curves are just terrible, so we've cleared out the entire lighthouse and we gained literally 1 level. Now on the one hand, I guess it is kind of nice that gym leaders seem even relatively stronger than all of the rando trainers on the overworld, but it's still kind of ridiculous to me just how many of these trainers are using super weak Pokemon at this point in the game. That being said, it's not like we have guaranteed 1-hits on everything. So let's take this chance to fight the Mystic Man, Eugene. He's going to lead off with his Drowsy, which we will simply return in 1 shot. Next out is Electrode, so let's just stick with Return here. It's going to be a 2-hit KO as he uses Rollout here, but we knock it out pretty easily. Out comes the Haunter, which we'll simply put to sleep, and I guess Confusion's probably the way to go. Very nice. We get a very easy win. So after beating everything around the World Islands, we are now at level 43, where I think we can take another shot at this. Let's just see if this level turns out to be enough in order to get through Jasmine. So here her Steelix wakes up once and misses its first Iron Tail, and now I think we have at least a decent chance to get through this. Of course, it always depends on her accuracy luck here. If she just misses enough times, we can possibly cheese her eventually. Here it does hit the Iron Tail and raises its own defense, but we just need to put it back to sleep. There we go. And with higher defense, I think maybe we should go for Confusion a little bit more, just because Return's not going to do as much damage once she's raised her defense 1 stage. But now that she's used her Hyper Potion, once again, it all just comes down to the luck of keeping this Pokemon asleep long enough and getting misses when it does wake up, and hopefully having it confused so that we have that extra 50-50 shot of it's not actually hitting us when it wakes up. So we are once again whittling her down little by little, and we just have to get the luck to actually get the miss when we need it. Now we get her back to sleep. She's on low red health, and 1 more hit I think will do it. And there we go. Level 44 is where we beat Jasmine with our Hoothoot. I think that's better than our Spearow. I'd have to go back and double check it, but hey, with that done, it's time to go take on the Rocket storyline and just see if we can make our way through at least Johto in a kind of reasonable time. It's probably going to be pretty close to 4 hours, I think, by the time we get through this, but let's find out. Now, fortunately, at this point, I think we're strong enough to mostly just hold down Auto A on Return on all of these Rocket Grunts as well. And now here in the basement, of course, Rival 4 comes to see us, and let's see if we can win this fight. Rival 4 is going to lead off with his Golbat. I'm simply going to try to put it to sleep if I can, and then I think Confusion is the play, since it is super effective, and I just want to keep my extra PP in return for other Pokemon. Out comes Magnemite. We're going to put this one to sleep for sure, and then just go into into the Mud Slaps. It's going to be an easy 2-hit KO. Out comes the Haunter, where once again, I think we want to put this Pokemon to sleep. Confusion seems like a reasonable strategy here, so we'll just go for 2 Confusions to knock it out. Sneasel comes out and goes for the Quick Attack. This is a Pokemon that I think there's nothing really better to do than just simply return, and it's going to be a 2-hit KO. Finally, he's going to bring out the Feraligatr. We're just going to put it to sleep. Let's go for the returns. It looks to be a 3-hit KO here, but he stays asleep, so we get the victory as we get to level 47. So now we just have to make our way through the rest of these grunts in this basement, and then we can hopefully get back into the radio tower pretty quickly and not waste too much time here. So here we level up to level 48, and I'm simply going to learn Dream Eater over Confusion. I think this is the best play, and we probably actually want to learn Fly at this point. There will be a move deleter fairly soon in case we ever want to forget this move, so I'm simply going to learn Fly over Mud Slap at this point, because I think most of our strategies are going to come down to simply putting things to sleep and then trying to whittle them down. So now it's time for the final executive here. Let's just see if we can beat him in his Houndoom. So he leads off with Houndour. We're going to go for return and get an easy 1-hit KO. The Coughing comes out. I'm going to go Hypnosis into Dream Eater here just in order to knock it out. And now the Houndoom is the one that we're a little bit worried about. I'm going to put this one to sleep and now go for the returns. It looks like a 2-hit KO, easy victory, and we've defeated that executive. So with that, we've gotten through this whole section and we can move on. So now it's time to just make our way through the ice path, which is like my least favorite part of the entire game, just because of the fact that it's tedious. It's not like it's hard or anything to get through this section. They just seem to always want to give us a kind of ridiculous puzzle section that nobody really needs. So just like that, we make it to Claire, no problem. But as a question, can we get through her with her 3 Dragonairs and of course her final Kingdra? So we are faster here, so we can go for Hypnosis strats to try to avoid the Thunder Waves, and I think that might be our best strategy. So here it's a 2-hit KO with return on these Dragonairs. Here we do get Thunder Waved, and Ice Beam is going to do decent damage to us, so we really do need to go for something like Dream Eater once we have them asleep, just to recover some health. Now return should knock that one out. We've made it to the final Kingdra, and Hyper Beam finishes us off. So, and here it appears that Kingdra is a 3-hit KO. Of course, she is going to heal right there, and she has a full heal to use on her Kingdra as well. So this time we make it all the way to Kingdra on full health. It is still faster than us, but here we should be able to do at least decent damage. Let's go for a Dream Eater, kind of hoping that she might just heal right here. We just barely missed the range to knock her out, and she goes for the full heal. We get the Hyper Beam, but we survive. And now we can use Dream Eater to heal up while it's asleep. So even if it does wake up, I think we can survive. And there we go. We have defeated Claire at level 51. So of course she's going to refuse a badge. Like half of the gym leaders in this entire game try to not give you their badge for some reason. Like I don't know what they were going for here. Just story wise, they were like, everybody hate Claire. She doesn't want to give you your badge even though you beat her. So now we can come see these old guys. They're like, hey, you met Sage Lee earlier. We know that you know things. And here comes Claire to be like, no, I don't want to give him a badge. And they're like, give him a badge. Oh man, this game. And now she's like, I've come to apologize. I'm so sorry for being a jerk. I'm so sorry for not giving you your TM and your badge that you were supposed to get. It's like, somebody fire that girl. Worst gym leader ever. So here we can go ahead and dig out from here. We can go back to see Professor Elm. And now the question is, how do we do when we try to go and beat the Elite Four? So now we're going to take our first step into Kanto, of course. And we should just go ahead and grab some items, but we're not going to use any rare candies in this section. We already know we're saving the rare candies for Kanto here, and specifically for post-game Kanto. And we're not too worried if we run into some of these trainers because it's pretty clear that we're going to need more levels against the league. I do not think that we're going to beat them at our current level, that's for sure. So here, let's save the game. Let's try to fight our rival. So rival 5 time, he claims he's invincible. We're going to laugh at him because he's got level 34 Pokemon on his team. Oh man, Out comes another level 34 Pokemon. Now, we don't have any good moves against this one, so we just have to kind of decide what to do, but it's not like Magneton's that tough, fortunately. Oh, we get paralyzed. No, that was not what we wanted. Okay, but now we can go Dream Eater, so we can get some health back. That is important. Next, Golbat, we're going to try to just put this one to sleep if we can, but we get the wing attacks and we lose. That was terrible. That was absolutely terrible. Not gonna lie, I kind of wish that I just kept Mud Slap here. Just for cheese. Okay, but there we do put this one to sleep this time. Let's see, Dream Eater. It looks like both moves do about the same damage. And it stays asleep, so we can knock it out with Return. Very nice. Out comes Golbat. We're gonna put it to sleep. Let's just Dream Eater this one. It's gonna be a 2-hit KO, but still an easy victory. Out comes the Haunter, which we will once again try to put to sleep as he gives me a mean look, but Dream Eater one-shots it. Kadabra is clearly just a return, so easy win there. Feraligatr comes out. We're going to put this one to sleep. Go Return here, and we get hit by Future Sight. Not a big deal, I don't think. It stays asleep, and there we go. We have defeated the rival and made it to the league. Granted, the rival is not a very good indicator of how good we're going to be against the league, so I think we put all of our other Pokemon into the PC for now, because we really don't know if we're going to be doing very well here or not. And ideally, we want to just be able to grind against the league if necessary. So what we're going to do is we're going to buy as many full restores as we possibly can with the current money that we have. In fact, we're going to sell trash that we don't need so that we can buy even more. So with that, let's go ahead and make our way into the Elite Four. So starting with Willy Boy. Big Willy style. He's coming out with the Xatu, and we're going straight for the return here. We are slower than this Pokemon, and by a fair bit even. And Psychic is doing really good damage, so I don't think we're going to win that one. Let's go ahead and try this again. We definitely need to put this Pokemon to sleep. So he's going to go Confuse Ray every time on us, and then go into Psychic. And I think we have to at least be beating one Pokemon to at least be able to sit here and grind some levels. So out comes Jinx next. Ice Punch just does massive damage, and this Pokemon is faster than us. So I think this is even a Quick Claw situation. But I think one more level will have us outspeeding, or at least speed tying the Jinx. And then I think this one becomes really consistent, like relatively speaking, because at that point, we can probably just one-shot the Jinx. Like even here, we can one-shot the Jinx with the right ranges at least. So I think level 58 is where this is going to become pretty reasonable. So we knock out the Slowbro there. Okay, we put Xatu to sleep, and it stays asleep, so we get to knock it out there. Now let's put Exeggutor to sleep, and we don't get it, but we do survive. Okay, so now Fly does about half there. We're going to fly up again. And there we go, we have our first victory against Willy Boy. So at level 58, as we leveled up at the end of that fight, we were able to beat Will. And now it's time to move on to Koga. Let's just see how we do in our first attempt here. So Koga, of course, he's going to be a bit of a troll, but let's just see if we can beat him. Obviously, he leads off with the Ariados. That is not a great Pokemon by any means. He tries to double team, but we one-shot him, okay. Next up is Fortress, and Fortress is kind of interesting. I'm going to put it to sleep, and now I'm going to Fly, because at least Fly is neutrally effective, and it is a same type move. Oh, he goes Explosion though, and he just wrecks us. I'm going to reset here one time. I just want to see this one in a little more detail. And we knock that one out, okay. So here's Muck. We're going to put this one to sleep and go for the Dream Eater, which is looking like a 3-hitter here. Here we should just be able to return and knock that one out. Out comes Crobat. Obviously, Crobat is going to be kind of a troll. Like, his whole strategy here is probably going to go for something like Toxic with Crobat. He full restores right there, and that's where we're going to get wrecked. Okay, but I'll take the XP that time. We can go back and fight Willy Boy. We now have enough speed to at least speed tie the Jinx, which makes me feel pretty good about this fight. And I think we're going to gain levels at a much faster rate now. It really is rather impressive though here on Koga just how much damage we actually do with the move Dream Eater, given that it's resisted by Fortress. And here, I mean, as long as we can manage to outspeed, get things to sleep, and actually use our strongest moves on them, critical hit almost one-shot there on the Muck with our Dream Eater. Now, we're way far away from ever being able to outspeed here against this Crobat. It's only got, you know, 130 speed at this point, and Koga is going to sit here and use his full heals. But there we do manage to get it to sleep, and Dream Eater is doing a lot of damage here. The problem is that it's just boosting its evasion, but we did knock it out with return there. We're on to the final. I think this is a flying dragon Pokemon, but yeah, we're simply going to get a nice 2-hit KO on Venomoth, and we have gotten through Koga for the first time at level 62. So now it's on to Bruno. Let's just see if we can win. So here, Bruno attempt number 1, we're up against Hitmontop. It goes quick attack, we're going to put it to sleep. And once it is asleep, we're simply going to go Dream Eater to get our health back. And then I think a return is enough to just knock it out from there. Next up, Onyx. We're going to want to go Hypnosis for sure. Sandstorm is going to do damage here, and Rock Slide's also going to do damage. So we want to put this one to sleep and hopefully be able to Dream Eater some health off of it. So it's not like this Pokemon has a ton of health, but we do manage to knock it out with 2 Dream Eaters there. Hitmonchan comes out, and Hitmonchan is slower, though it does go for Mach Punch here, and we miss all of the Hypnosises. Let's try this one just again, because I think we have a chance here. So once again, Hitmontop is just going to quick attack against us, and we can just go for Dream Eater here and get a critical hit one-shot. That's nice. Now here we put the Onyx to sleep turn 1, and we can Dream Eater here because, I mean, yes, it's going to resist our physical moves, but that's fine. Now Hitmonchan goes Mach Punch, but we're simply going to put it to sleep and now go for Dream Eater, and now we can just do a return to knock it out from there, I think. But Machamp comes out, and Machamp is way slower than us, so Cross Chop does a lot of damage, but we get to put it to sleep the next turn, Dream Eater here, and as long as he stays asleep, this looks like 2-hit KO right there. Next comes out Hitmonlee, who is still slower than us. It lands a high jump kick, a second high jump kick, and a third high jump kick. We simply couldn't land the hits, but this is a winnable fight. The fact that everything is slower than us basically means that we should be able to simply put them to sleep and then whittle them down eventually. So it all just comes down to the Hypnosis luck here, basically. Out comes Hitmonlee. We're going to simply put it to sleep, Dream Eater it, and it survives, but that's fine because we'll simply return the next turn. And there we go. How could I lose? Oh, man. Oh, yes. Hoothoot. Far too powerful for you, Bruno. You had no chance. So the first things first against Karen, we are faster than her Umbreon. So we're going to put this Pokemon to sleep. Now we're going for return here. This appears to be a 3-hit KO. And we do get confused here. Goes Feint Attack on us as well. So yeah, not great. Gengar comes out. Now we can go for Hypnosis. We do not like the curse. We know like curse. So I'm going to reset right there, because that was kind of bad luck. We just need this first Umbreon to stay asleep long enough for us to knock it out, which is only 3 turns. So it's not like a ridiculous, you know, we need a perfect sleep there. Gengar is faster than us and goes curse. So that being said, in theory, we should be able to put this Pokemon to sleep and then Dream Eater it, or the Quick Claw can activate, which is the other way. I'm just saying, there is a way. Now, okay, there we get it asleep again, Dream Eater it, and we Dream Eater it again, so there it goes down. Okay, so now we're to Murkrow on full health with no curse. So here we just need to knock that one out. Now Houndoom, we need to put this Pokemon to sleep. We managed to survive here, and it's just a 2-hit range right there. Now Vileplume goes to sleep, yes. Dream Eater, yes. It stays asleep, and there we go. We have beaten Karen, 4 hours, 13 minutes. We're up to 266 resets, 64 optional battles, sorry, 54 optional battles, blind guy problem, and 4 TMs, but we have made it to Lance for the first time. Let's see if we can even stand up to Lance here. So here we go, Lance, first attempt. We are faster than Gyarados, so we're simply going to put this one to sleep. And I think we can just go return while we have full health. We get a nice critical hit there. It goes Rain Dance on us, okay. Clearly he's going for the Thunder Strat, but we're going to put this one to sleep. And now we can go return on his Dragonite. This is a 3-hit KO range here. but we're gonna knock it out, get to level 64 right there. He sends out the next Dragonite. We put it to sleep, return, return, return. So that's a 3-hitter right there. Aerodactyl comes out. Now we got the Quick Claw to activate. That was dope. Now we're going to go Dream Eater on this Pokemon since it does resist our other attacks. But that is a 3-hit KO, so we get through right there. Charizard is faster. Go Slash. Here I'm going to... Oops, I did not mean to fly there. Let's go Return. He Hyper Beams, and he's going to have to recharge, so we get through there. Final Dragonite time. It hits Outrage. We survive on 1 HP. I'm going to Dream Eater here. Oh, he used a full restore. He used a full heal. We put him back to sleep. Dream Eater. Sorry, we're using Dream Eater to just try to recover some health. But here I'm nervous. He stays asleep. Return. Oh yes! The first attempt on Lance, it's over! Oh, we get it. Oh, the legendary Hoothoot. It took 4 hours and 15 minutes, but we did manage to beat the entire game with a single Hoothoot, and it's like, I think, what, like 11 levels lower than we were with the Spearow. Granted, probably with a lot more resets, because we spent a lot more time resetting for certain kinds of luck, but the reason I reset so much there on Karen was because I thought maybe, just maybe, I would outspeed enough on Lance's team to just simply beat him with the Hypnosis strats, and I was. First attempt, we beat Lance. So that was dope. I had a lot of fun doing that. That was ridiculous. But it is time to make our way into Kanto now with the legendary Hoothoot. Yes, Hoothoot has defeated the Elite Four, but there is still the bigger challenge left in front of us. That is Red. Red, we know, is an absolute beast, and he's probably going to be the single toughest trainer that we fight in these entire runs. I'm not sure if we're going to do well or not when we finally get to the point of taking him on, but here's what we need to do first. We need to get a whole bunch of rare candies and just get prepared to go over to Kanto, because we need the rare candies when it comes time to take on Red. Otherwise, I think we're going to get wrecked. That's my personal prediction. I'm going to get wrecked. So I think we'll also pick up some random items. I'm going to get like a King's Rock here just in order to have it as a held item later on. I'm not sure which strategies we actually need in order to get through Kanto reasonably. So really, we just want to have access to all the options. So with that, it's time to make our way over to the SS Aqua, and it's time to go to Kanto with this Hoothoot. And I think we're going to do pretty well. So we simply need to beat up on a sailor who's not doing his job, and then we should make our way straight to Vermilion City. So normally the first thing that I would do is just go and beat up on Lieutenant Surge. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to do that with our Hoothoot though. I want to test it one time just to be sure, but we may have to save him for later. Our real goal is just to fight as few trainers as possible while we're in here, so we'll just go ahead and fight this guy with the electrodes. That is an easy one-hit KO as we get to level 65, and I think if we're knocking out Pokemon quickly enough with Return, we should at least have a chance here in this gym. So let's get right here to attempt number 1 against Lieutenant Surge. Let's just see how this goes. So Lieutenant Surge leads off with his Raichu, which is actually slower than our Hoothoot. So let's see if Return does it. Oh, it is a one-hit KO. Out comes Magneton. This is the scariest Pokemon here. Oh, and he goes double team. Oh my gosh, this guy is trash. We're gonna put his Magneton to sleep though. And we found previously that really Dream Eater is probably the best strategy here. Now we get Zap Cannoned, which is not what we wanted. So I think we just have to go all in on the attacks with Return and try to land a hit. And the fact is we simply can't land anything, but we do finally get the Return. And here he misses a Thunder with Electabuzz. He goes Hyper Potion, but we're not going to be able to survive the first attempt. It really comes down, I think, to just putting that Magneton to sleep though. If we get that, then I think we've got a victory. So second attempt here, we do not quite one-shot the Raichu, so that is the other issue. It's apparently a range on the first Pokemon. So really the best is just to try to put everything to sleep, and once they're asleep, we can simply go for the damage ranges to knock things out. The fact that he'll use Double Team is kind of ridiculous, and we hopefully won't get that too many times here. We get a nice critical hit on the Magneton, and it stays asleep, so we can just use Return to knock it out. Out next is that Electabuzz, which is faster than us. But we get the Quick Claw to activate, and he goes for a Light Screen, then a Hyper Potion, and we just need to avoid that Thunder, so we easily knock it out. Electrode is of course faster than us, but it has no defense. And the final Electrode, once again, it's going for Double Team, but we simply one-shot it, and we once again prove that Lieutenant Surge is trash. So with that being done, let's go ahead and just make our way up north, where we're going to avoid as many trainers as possible because I'm not sure if we need to fight them or not. But this is a pretty reasonable spot to just go fight Sabrina, given the fact that we've got a normal type, same type move that should at least do reasonable damage here. Let's just see if we can make it work. Here she leads off with her Espeon, which is faster than us, and it's Sand Attacks. But if we can just manage to land the returns, I do think we'll knock this one out. It is a 2-hit KO though. Out comes Mr. Mime. We got the Quick Claw to activate, but we could not land the hit. And with Barrier up, this Pokemon is actually pretty tough. So we're going to have to try this one again. If we can get the Quick Claw to activate on that very first Espeon and put it to sleep, then I think we can get through this one. Ideally, we just want to avoid that accuracy drop at the beginning. So this time Espeon goes for Psychic turn 1, and I believe that's going to give us the chance that we need to just knock it out with no accuracy drops this time. We are faster than Mr. Mime, and return nearly one-shot it. Now it did do a critical hit in return to us, but out comes Alakazam, and man oh man, we're just too slow to get through this one. I don't think this one's reasonable at this point, so I'm going to put it off for a minute. Let's go ahead and fight some other gym leaders instead. And it's here that we can see one of the big factors that really differentiates Hoothoot from its rival Spearow is purely just the fact that we aren't very fast. That being said, I do think we can come here and take on Erica's gym, given the fact that we, as a flying type, have a type advantage here. So let's just try this gym instead. And sure enough, simply spamming Fly is more than enough for all of the other trainers in Erica's gym. So let's take our first attempt at waifu number 2. So here, Tangela is pretty bulky, so I'm simply going to put it to sleep first. And this might even be a spot where Dream Eater is the better play since it has much lower special defense. We knock it out in 2 hits, out comes Blossom, whom we are also faster than. Now of course it's going to Sunny Day and start using Solar Beam against us, that's basically fine. I think we just use Fly here, and let's just see how much we do. We do get the one-hitter with a crit there. Jump Bluff is next, I'm simply going to use Fly here. Let's see, we do get the 1-hit KO there. Victory Bell is the last Pokemon out. We're simply going to put this one to sleep. Let's go Dream Eater. And here we can even just do a return in order to finish her off. Oh, she gets in a healing loop, but that is no problem at all. Easy KO. And Erica never stood a chance. So now it's just time to make our way to the power plant and get our quest to go retrieve the machine part. And then hopefully we can just make quick progress through this section. And of course, before we forget, let's get the leftovers just in case we need them. And now it's time to go and take on the Misty section, where there are tons of required trainers that we have to fight on the way up to Misty. So I think this is going to be just fine. It's at least a pretty reasonable leveling spot in this section of the game. So of course, the Team Rocket member is going to go down basically without a fight, and we can just retrieve the machine part that we needed. And then we have to go and see how our little What-a-Hoot does, as it interrupts Misty's date. Last time we interrupted her with our Pecker, but this time we're interrupting her with a Hooter. Now fortunately, all of these trainers are basically just 1-hit KOs with return at this point because we're so massively over-leveled relative to them. I wonder if they had intended for us to reach this section at a lower level in the original version of the game. But here we can just interrupt Misty. She's gonna get real angry at getting blocked by our Hooter here, and we're just gonna be like, alright, we'll come down. We're game, we'll fight you in your gym. And this one shouldn't be too hard, I don't think. We can simply skip all of the trainers in her gym and get straight to Misty, where I think we've got an easy victory, but let's find out. She leads off with Golduck, where I'm simply going to go return. It is a 2-hit KO on this Pokemon. Kinda surprising right there. Lapras comes out next. I'm going to put Lapras to sleep, and I'm actually going to use Dream Eater to recover some HP here. I think this is the best play simply because I don't think we're going to one-shot it, and now a return should finish it from there. Out comes Starmie, where yes, Ice Beam's going to do a lot of damage, but Starmie's not super bulky, so return is just a 2-hit KO. And finally, the Quagsire comes out. I'm going to put this one to sleep. we can see that Quagsire has a lot less special defense. So I think that Dream Eater is a perfectly reasonable strategy here. It's a 2-hit KO, and just like that, Misty goes down. And with that, we just go back to the power plant, deliver the part, let's get the radio expansion card, and we should be good to go for this next section. And unlike Spearow, that was kind of scared of Brock given the fact that it couldn't do reasonable damage there, here, the fact that we have access to Dream Eater gives us a pretty good move to use against his rock types. So I'm just going to try to get through with this setup right here. But first things first, we got to get over to Pewter. So here, expansion card in hand, we're simply going to put on the Pokeflute channel, and let's wake up this legendary Snorlax, who takes up 4 tiles here. He's massive, but we can simply get past him, and it's into the Diglett Cave. Now we do have to deal with this one spinner right there, but we simply get past him on the first attempt very, very nicely. And it's on the Brock, where I don't think we're going to struggle too much here, but let's find out. First things first, we got to take on Lightyear's boy, who's been hanging out here for literal years, but we're just going to have a pretty easy time here. I think if we put his Pokemon to sleep, we definitely get through, but even Return, I think, does decent enough damage here. So with that, it's time for Brock attempt number 1. We're coming into this fight at level 68, so we're still lower leveled than we beat the champion with our Spearow, but now we've got to go Hypnosis, and we're definitely going Dream Eater here since these Pokemon don't have great special necessarily. This is definitely the best strategy that I can think of, at least. So Rhyhorn is another 1-hit KO with Dream Eater. Out comes the Amistar. This is where the team starts to get a little scary since they at least have stats, but still special defense is not their specialty. So Amistar is a 2-hit KO with Dream Eater, and now out comes the Kabutops. We're going to try to put it to sleep. It gets a slash on us. We're simply missing all the hypnosis here, but once we get it to stay asleep, this one also appears to be a 2-hit KO with Dream Eater, and just like that, Brock is finished. So here, now that we've made it to Pallet Town, we can just come say hi to Professor Oak really quickly. And he's gonna lecture us about the fact that we haven't caught any Pokemon, but that's fine. Let's just make it down south, see his grandson, and hopefully we can just beat up on Blaine while we're down here. We can grab another rare candy on Cinnabar Island. It's time to just make our way to the Blaine fight. So of course, Blaine has taken up hiding in a cave since he learned that he's not very good. Let's see if we can beat him on the first attempt. He's gonna lead off with his Magcargo, which of course, as a rock type, does resist everything, so I do think we have to go for the Hypnosis strat here. He's literally cursing up a storm at us, but once we get to the Dream Eater, this is a 2-hit KO on this Pokemon. Out next comes the Magmar. I think we can just go Return here. It's not quite a 1-hitter. He even knows Thunder Punch, which is kind of ridiculous, but we get the 2-hit KO. And finally out comes Rapidash. It goes for a Fire Blast, which does a lot of damage. But if we can just manage to survive and hit, we did not survive 2 Fire Blasts. So I think we need to put everything to sleep here, but then we should get through this just fine. So attempt number 2, we put Magcargo to sleep. We're going for the Dream Eater strats. Once again, he curses at us when he wakes up, but we'll just put him back to sleep. Go to sleepy sleep. Very nice. There we go, we knocked that one out. Magmar's out next. We simply put it to sleep this time. I meant to use Return here, but instead I used Fly, but it doesn't really matter. We simply knock him out on the next turn with a Return. And here on the final Rapidash, he misses the first Fire Blast. He hits the second one, but we can definitely survive. And just like that, we get through Blaine, no problem. So with Blaine going down, I think we just make our way to Fuchsia because Janine is a joke. But then we have to take on Blue and we have to take on Sabrina. And those are the 2 fights that I think actually pose a major challenge to us before we get to Red. But first, we should just find out, so let's come fight Janine, who's just kind of hiding around with a bunch of copycats. By far and away the weakest of the Kanto gym leaders. We're just going to spam Return here, and I think we have an easy win. Weezing is a 2-hit KO here, but once the Weezing goes down, I think we're going to be fine. She uses Toxic, but Toxic really shouldn't make much difference. Ariados is a 1-hit KO. Out comes the Venomoth, and in spite of the fact that it's a Dragon Steel type, it goes down in a single hit. So it turns out that a level 69 Hoothoot is doing pretty well in Kanto so far. But now we have to get a victory somewhere. I think it's worth it to at least take an attempt at blue here, just because he has more of a diverse team and not everything is necessarily fast on his team. Of course, he does have an Arcanine, which is the best and fastest Pokemon in the entire game, clearly. But what we do know for sure is that he's going to be tough. So let's just see if we can beat him or not. So blue attempt number 1, he leads off with the Pidgeot, which is of course faster than us. He wing attacks, and that did a lot of damage there. And he mirror moves return, but he doesn't have any friendship, it appears. So he does beat us on the first attempt, but that's kind of hilarious. His return was so weak. Apparently his Pidgeot just hates him. So here, let's instead go for the Quick Claw and try to get Hypnosis to hit. There it goes. Now we can go for return, where this one looks like a 3-hit KO on the Pidgeot, but we get it down on this attempt. Out next comes the Rhydon, which unfortunately is a slow Pokemon, so we can simply put it to sleep and then go into our Dream Eater spam. And since he only has 69 special defense, which is very nice, we get a 3-hit KO there with the Dream Eater. Out next is Alakazam. We get the Quick Claw to activate. We do not one-shot here though. He recovers, but return's gonna knock him out on the next turn. Out comes the Gyarados. I'm gonna put this one to sleep. And while its special defense is really high, I do think we want to use some Dream Eaters here. We did not put on the leftovers here, so we can only heal in battle via using Dream Eater. He wakes up and hits us with a critical hit Hyper Beam. So I don't know, this could be a spot where something like leftovers actually helps us quite a bit, just because of the fact that when the opponent is asleep, we can actually recover some HP. So let's try that instead. Let's just see if that makes a difference here. So here, attempt number 2 against the rival. We obviously don't have a Quick Claw anymore, so we can't get that to activate as a means of getting through some of these Pokemon faster. But here we still have the same 3-hit range against the Pidgeot. He uses return, which is super weak, and we knock him out. Out comes the Rhydon next. We're simply going to try to put this one to sleep. We failed, and the Rock Slide destroyed us. Obviously, we can get that one to go to sleep though, so I think it's just a matter of resetting. So it does seem like he really likes to use Mirror Move turn 2 with his Pidgeot, and its return is trash, so there we go, we get through that one just fine. Rhydon is out next. We are going to get the Hypnosis this time, and that allows us to go into our Dream Eater spam, where we just need the 3 hits to get through this one. So with 3 hits, that one is down. Out comes the Alakazam, where I think we just simply go for the return strat here. Hoping he goes recover, that's perfectly fine. We'll just knock him out and be able to recover some HP on the next turn. And here we can put Gyarados to sleep. He's going to full restore there. I'm going to put him to sleep again. I expect him to full restore a second time. He does. So now we can simply do that. In order to get some HP back, we're going to go return now. And this one is not quite a 3-hitter, but we do knock him out. Out comes Arcanine, of course, the best and most powerful Pokemon in the game. Gives us a nice flamethrower, but we put it to sleep as we recover a little bit with leftovers. Now it looks to be a 3-hit KO with return, and we have knocked it out. So his final Pokemon, Exeggutor, comes out. We're going to put this one to sleep. Let's go for the return here, just because Fly takes 2 turns. We most ideally just want to keep him asleep. And here, let's just go for a Fly, just to finish him off. And just like that, we have defeated Blue at level 70. Really not that bad. Leftovers helps a lot there, just because we can recover little bits of HP while our opponents are asleep. But with that, we just have one gym leader left to fight. That is, of course, the legendary waifu Sabrina. And if we can get through this one, it's on to Red at a significantly lower level than we were last time. That being said, it's no guarantee that we're going to be able to get through Red, especially because his team is kind of beastly, but we're gonna try. So here we're back for round 2 against Sabrina. Let's just see if we can destroy her now. So first things first, we now outspeed the Espeon, so we can simply put it to sleep and go for return. This is still a 2-hit KO, but we do knock it out very nicely. We get to level 71. Now against the Mr. Mime, I'm going to go for return and get a 1-hit KO, and her Alakazam comes out. It goes Reflect. But even with Reflect, this appears to be a 2-hit KO, and there we go, we have taken down Sabrina. So with that, we've reached level 71 here, and it's time to make our way, finally, at last, to the legendary Red. So of course, Professor Oak is going to tell us the legend of Red and be like, yes, go fight him. You are the one. So with that, we can get to Viridian City, where we kind of realize that we never even got a bicycle in this one. We just kind of skipped it. Nobody needs a bicycle. Nobody. Come on. Bicycles, trash. Clearly. But right here, we can simply come in here, walk through, and be like, yes, let me through to the other side, where we are now ready to go and take on the end of the game. So there we can get the final rare candy as we make our way to this final boss. And I'm just hopeful that the rare candies are going to turn out to be enough. We have 10 in the bag to use, and we're not going to fight any wild Pokemon, so this is really all we get. If we fail here, we're going to have to go back around Kanto and just try to fight a bunch of random trainers, which is going to take forever. So hopefully this will be enough to simply get through Red. And just like that, we have made it to the legend himself, the doppelganger, the guy who looks exactly like us from behind. But we're about to tell him, hey, we're the actual Pokemon Master. It's time for Red, attempt number 1 with our Hoothoot. He goes Thunder turn 1 and one-shots us. Now, Thunder has a 30% chance to miss, so it's not like this is a guaranteed KO here. So on the second attempt, we put him to sleep. He full restores, but this is a 2-hit KO on the Pikachu. And since we know he's going to use his full restores right here on the Pikachu, we should simply spam Hypnosis and just look for a run where he does not manage to land the Thunder, I think. Now, it's really just a balance of, do I want to go for the Quick Claw or do I want to go for the Hypnosis strat here and just hope that Thunder misses? I think that it's better to go for the Hypnosis strat since we kind of know what he's going to do. He misses 2 Thunders here, but he hits the third one. We just could not land the 3 Hypnosises. So here we have gotten to 3 sleeps on him. We get a nice Quick Claw there. He stays asleep, so this time we do get to knock that Pokemon out. Out comes Blastoise, which is faster than us, but we put it to sleep here. And now he lands the Blizzard, and we simply cannot survive. So this seems like a spot where maybe we just need the rare candies for survivability. I'm simply going to spam them right here, and let's just see if these levels are enough to at least survive a hit from something like Thunder or Blizzard. If not, then I think we have to go out and start fighting some extra battles against trainers. So this time we added 5 levels with the rare candies to get to level 76. Let's just see what that does for us. We still get one-shot by Thunder, no matter what. Okay, so let's try 10 levels here. So here we're at level 81. Let's just see what it looks like in this situation. We can see that our speed has topped out at 135 here without going and taking extra optional battles. So here the Quick Claw activates, but it's not a one-hitter, but he goes for Charm instead of going for Thunder here, which may mean that we're no longer a one-hit KO range from Thunder. So here he hits the Thunder, but we survive. So that is 1 point for us. Now we are actually slower than Blastoise, but we get the Quick Claw to activate. So I'm going to simply do a Dream Eater here just to see if I can get a little health back. Blastoise is pretty bulky, so it's not going to go down quickly, and we're going to get knocked out right there. But that tells us that maybe, just maybe, we have a shot in this one, especially if he's not going to use Thunder 100% of the time with the Pikachu. We may just be able to get through this one. So let's just try a few attempts here at level 81, and if these fail, then we'll go and start grinding. So here we get the Pikachu to stay asleep, so we're going to at least have a chance to get through with no damage here. Onto the Blastoise, we're hoping to be able to put this one to sleep. It misses the first Blizzard, then it goes Rain Dance, misses another Blizzard, but we simply cannot land any of our Hypnosises. We finally do get it to sleep, but I think we're going to be in a kind of tough range here because we kind of need to keep this one asleep for at least 4 turns, it looks like, in order to knock it out. But we do get through right there. Out comes Espeon, which is, of course, much faster than us, and it simply knocks us out. Now, it's also possible for the Pikachu to use Charm here, and if Charm hits, that's actually really bad for us because it lowers our attack by 2 stages, and we don't have any way to raise our attack stat. So this might be one where we actually are in bad shape, even when it goes for the Charm strat. So I think we still need the Quick Claw to activate here to really be in a good situation. We basically need like perfect Hypnosises that always keep them asleep for the maximum number of turns if we're going to get through at this level. So I think this is a spot where we do need to go out and start grinding a little bit. I think there is a good argument that simply coming and grinding against the league might be the best way to go. Because now at this point, we can basically just one-shot everything because we're just at such a high level when we're up against this first fight against Will. It's not quite a one-hitter on Slowbro, but still, this should be just fine. And I think we're going to get through this very consistently here and just get the extra levels that we need. And basically, we're just going to go based on damage rounding thresholds. So anytime that we get to a level that ends in a 3, 5, 8, or 0, we will simply move on to trying to fight red again. And at this point, we even one-shot everything on Karen's team, so it's just time to get back to Lance and see if we can beat him. We may have gotten lucky last time when we were here, but I think we have everything that we need to get through this fight. Now, of course, Lance is using the illegal rock slide with his Aerodactyl, but fortunately it doesn't have great specials, so we're going to be able to hopefully knock it out with a couple Dream Eaters. Very nice. Out comes the Charizard next, which, while we are paralyzed, we can simply use Hypnosis, and we're going to go for some returns here if we can ever move. And this one turns out to be a 2-hit KO at this level. The final Dragonite comes out. We're simply going to try to knock it out with our returns. Hyper Beam hits, but it's not enough, so we easily get through the league at this point. So one thing that we can say for sure is that Hoothoot would have been completely consistent here at level 83. Granted, that's a much higher level than we had when we beat the league with our Spearow, but by getting the extra levels, it will help us just to be able to hopefully get through red a little more efficiently. So time for red round 2, where we're still going to be slower, obviously, than everything. But here we can survive Thunder, which is very nice. And we simply need to land a Hypnosis here, I think, and then we have a reasonable shot at least against the Pikachu. And we're still quite a bit slower than Blastoise, but we can put it to sleep. Let's go for the returns right here, where it does land a Blizzard there when it wakes up. And unfortunately, it just lands 2 Blizzards. So I think we need at least 145 speed so that we can outspeed that Blastoise. If we can get to that point, I think at least we're going to have a decent chance of getting through this one. So here at level 88, we have 154 speed now, and it's just time to see, because we will absolutely outspeed the Blastoise. Will this be enough? Or will we have to do even more level grinding in order to get through this section? This is the point where I feel like Spearow did have a pretty massive advantage. Once you get to the end of the game, I feel like speed and damage output are far more important than having access to sleep. Just because if you're not fast enough to outspeed the opponents, they're going to do too much damage to you when you get to Red's team. So while sleep is pretty broken throughout the Johto section where everything is fairly underleveled, Red kind of turns that on its head and finally forces you to actually deal damage, or at least have the speed to outspeed his really fast Pokemon. But here, let's take another attempt and just see if we can get through this at this point. Again, we're just going to have to hope for a little bit of luck on the Pikachu. Particularly, we don't want to get Charm, though it does look like after a Charm it's a 2-hit KO at this point, so we can at least get through that. And while we are racking up a lot of resets here, a lot of these are pretty simple. If we get Charm or Thunder from the first Pikachu, we simply reset. So here we're back to the Espeon. It does go Reflect turn 1, which is not ideal, but we're simply going to start lowering its HP here and hopefully get it where it's not going to have too many more turns with the Reflect once we get to the Snorlax. So we do knock it out. We're at about half health right now, and I think we need to get Snorlax to sleep turn 1. And now it might make sense to simply go for Dream Eater here just to get a little HP back and wait for the Reflect to go down. Now Snore will do decent damage here, but once Reflect is no longer on, we can do pretty decent damage against this Pokemon. I'm simply going to Dream Eater it to finish it off, and out comes the Charizard. Now we want to put this Pokemon to sleep no matter what. We get it to sleep right there, and here I think we simply go for the returns, and this is looking like a 3-hit KO on this Pokemon. So if it just stays asleep, we can knock it out right there. And finally out comes the Venusaur, and Venusaur is slower, so we're going to put it to sleep. I'm going to give it a Dream Eater just so that I can get some HP back. We did about half damage there, and now I think Fly will do more than enough damage to simply KO it from that range, and there we go. At level 88, we were able to beat the entire game with a Hoothoot. So what can we say in the end? Well, we can definitely say in Johto, Quick Claw plus Sleep is insane. It's gonna require a ton of resets in certain spots, but it always gives you a chance to get through, and that's something that we're gonna find as we do the minimum battle series going forward, I think. Quick Claw plus Sleep will give Pokemon reasonable chances to get through, especially if they have better stats than a Hoothoot. We may just be able to start wrecking the game with that. But that strategy does not necessarily translate all the way to Red. While we did beat Red at a lower level with this Pokemon, it's only 4 levels lower than we beat the game with a Spearow that was not using Sleep, that was simply using its much higher attack and speed stat to get through that final fight. So I think at the end of the game, once we finally get to Red, just the massive power jump between him and basically everything else in the game is going to make some of these cheesy strategies a lot less effective. So he's definitely going to be a wall at the end. I think there's going to be a lot of Pokemon that just simply don't get through. We may have to put some pretty tight restrictions on exactly what we can accept and not accept, but I think if it's a situation where you just need Pikachu to miss a single Thunder, for example, it's a 30% chance. That would be pretty reasonable to get through. But if you get to the point where you basically need everything to get like a miss or a certain move in order for you to get through, I don't think it's reasonable. We're probably going to have to cut off there. But here we go. Level 88. Hoothoot has beaten the game. I hope you guys like this one. We're going to be coming back with more solo runs, of course. So let me know which Pokemon you want to see. But I think the next one has to be Natu. We have beaten the game with a Spearow, we've beaten the game with a Hoothoot. The only other primarily flying type that is left that has failed so far in the minimum battle series is Natu, so I think it gets its next shot. And then once we get through Bugsy in the minimum battle series, we're going to start doing bug type Pokemon, as well as any other flying types that happen to fail since we've already completed Falkner. But just tell me what you would like to see, and we will keep it going until we eventually get through all 251 Pokemon to beat the entire game. With that being said, appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. I'll see you in the next one.